Well, today I'm in the shop and I've got a lot of work to do. Yesterday I was working on this project, trying to get everything from this new Osmo to fit into the carrying case that I had. I'm going to work on getting this set up today to allow us to use this Parrot teleprompter. So I picked up a real lightweight Parrot teleprompter, and I want to see if I can find a way to mount the Osmo here inside the teleprompter so that I can have a mobile teleprompter solution while also walking with the Osmo. So to do that, I picked up some threaded bars as well as some angle iron. You can kind of see here for rigidity, but super lightweight. And I'm sorry, it's angle aluminum. And a couple other just flat aluminums, bars, bar stock, a couple of different sizes. My thought is I'm going to build a component that connects right to this and then has a hood that goes over the back, so it allows the Osmo's head to free flow just like it needs to, while still allowing my talent to have a small teleprompter that they control with a remote. So my challenge today is to figure out how to take this system and mount it so that my camera can still be close enough to it to get a good image and allow me to have freedom of movement, at least a little bit of the camera as I move around, but to have this follow the handle. So I'm going to try and figure out how to attach the Parrot teleprompter to the handle of the Osmo to give me a mobile teleprompting solution. Now, because the screen size is so wide on the Osmo, it does pick up the edges of the teleprompter because I'm not able to get it right up against the glass. What I'm planning on doing is setting the Osmo to shoot at 4K and then allowing my frame to be resized to 1080 and cut out the excess on the edges. And I should still get a nice high definition image with a teleprompter solution. All right, so far I've got the Osmo mounted on a tripod so I'd have room to work with both my hands. The handle is into the mount, and I've added the extra extension that you can purchase from Osmo. It's got two toothed fittings on either side that match the back side that attaches to the Osmo handle. I also have the iPhone mount and the optional microphone clip. So it's got two cold shoe mounts for microphones or a lav pack, which is what I'll have on mine. I angled it down so that I would have the ability to add the teleprompter in front of the lens without having any interference from the phone or from this package down here, so this can kind of free float. It also gives me an additional attachment ring here on the side of that extension arm. And that extension comes with a spare gear so that I can attach this to the aluminum bar stock that I have to hold it firm so it doesn't move or rattle around. I don't want to damage the teleprompter in case I want to go back to this configuration. So I don't want to take a chance of cracking this. It's a pretty thin plastic. However, as I got to looking at this, the springs are just on a shaft inside there. You can kind of see those springs. They've got a retaining washer at the top that pops off fairly easily. And so this bottom piece is just a flat piece of black plastic with two plastic pins that go up. A spring set on top of that with a retaining washer at the top to give the grip that it needs to hold on. I think I'm going to pull this bottom plate completely off and replace it with the flat aluminum that's the same width. And then I'm going to take bolts that have a thread at one end. There we go. Bolts that have a thread at one end. And then a smooth shaft. I'm going to cut off the head here so that it can slide up inside the teleprompter through the aluminum. So I'll make the hole so that the threads will set on either side, and I can attach a nut here to hold this into the aluminum plate. So this will essentially become the pin that the spring sets on. So I'm going to make a metal bottom plate for the Parrot teleprompter that can set and take the place of this one. So I can still put my iPhone in there, but now it's part of the construction, so I don't do any damage to the original teleprompter. Okay, so I took the aluminum bar stock that I have, and I put a 90-degree angle in it. And then I created out of wood a template, so I'd have the holes spaced correctly, to match the base that I took out of the Parrot teleprompter. And I did that out of wood because it's just cheaper than the aluminum, some scrap wood. So now I'm going to drill holes here through the aluminum to give me a matching base for the parrot. I'm going to use a metal bit here, and I've got a little water, so I'm going to dip the bit in the water as I drill that aluminum to make sure the bit doesn't get too hot and give the bit a little bit more life. Alright, so we got our 2 holes drilled. Now I've put my bolts in, they're going to act as my posts. And I've put self-locking nuts on the bottom of it. So these have a little insert inside of them that locks them down. So those are nice and secure. When this mounts, I'm going to have to do a Z formation for the base. So this is going to come back across and then actually attach on this side. The reason I did that is I wanted to distribute the weight so the weight wouldn't all be on this side of the camera with the phone and everything else. So this will allow me to distribute some weight to the right hand side by Zing back to the mount. And so that's the plan. Next I've got to measure my height and cut these posts off and then etch a little mark around the top of the post for our locking washers to snap around. So if you can see that, that's going to snap around this post, and I just need a groove there so it won't snap off. So the spring will go on, well, the teleprompter will go on, then the springs, then these go on to the top of the post to stop the spring. So I've got to make these to make sure that they match the same exact height as what the original parrot prompter was. So now I'm going in, I'm going to cut those off with a grinder and then put a notch around the top. So that's my next step. Okay, we have our posts secured into our frame, the same height as our parrot teleprompter posts were. My next challenge is to get this groove that the teleprompter has at the top of their posts embedded into my new metal posts. Not sure how to do that, but I thought maybe I could use a pipe cutter, which is this little device here, which has a blade at the top and rollers on the bottom, to cut a groove into that steel post. So I took the spare that I had, that I cut off of those posts, and I was able to get a nice groove all the way around that edge, evenly distributed. Now our spring can go on the post, and the retention washer from the original parrot device will slide into that groove and retain our spring. Once I have that done, I should be able to connect the parrot teleprompter directly to our new posts. Okay, I have our base, our pins are in, and the retention grooves are looking really good. Next, we're going to slide it into our parrot teleprompter piece, and you can see the pins come inside right here. These springs will go on top of the pins, and then I'll be adding this retention washer to the mix to hold the springs on, and I'll show you what it looks like as soon as I'm done. Okay, we've got our new pins installed and the new aluminum base plate. As you can see here, the iPhone just is going to slide right inside there. I'm going to go get some tacky surface material like you put in the bottom of a cabinet and glue that on the bottom here to keep the iPhone from sliding out. Okay, from what I can tell, this is about the distance I'm going to need for that teleprompter to set to give me a nice clean image and still allow for movement of the camera. Although it can't move much or I'll get a black frame, it does at least give me the freedom to move the camera itself. Now obviously the camera has to stay somewhat stable to allow for the phone and the frame so that it doesn't show up. Now as you can see, I can't really see the teleprompter script very well because I don't have it blacked out. So I've got to figure out some way to put a bonnet on the top of this so that it blacks out that background and we'll be able to see the teleprompter text much better, and then it won't show up in the camera. So I've got this mount and I'm trying to now figure out how to attach the box that we need for the Osmo to rotate inside of to black out the back. So I took some of the angle aluminum that I had and I made 2 holes so that this can attach right up against and underneath this plate that we added earlier. So that should secure and stabilize this quite a bit. It'll stick out about 1/2 inch behind the Osmo, where I'll take another piece of the angle iron and attach it across the back, like this. So we've got our frame together, and now we're going to, we had to bring this out 6.5 inches, and we attached it so it'd be more stable. We went ahead and came all the way out to this front end. So that's 6.5 inches. It's about 4¼ inches on the back, width-wise, which matched the Parrot teleprompter. And as you can see, once that's blacked out, we'll be able to see the text right through the screen, right where the camera is going to be sitting. All right, so this is the box. I figured out how to cut the shape. So this top part's going to give us a little bit of a snoot that goes over the top of the box. And then these will be the sides, and this will be the back with fold-over flaps to close the seam on the back corner there. I just used a like a poster board, you can kind of see here, a white poster board, and then scored where I was going to bend it, so cut halfway through the paper. Then I ran clear packing tape over that seam to strengthen it so it doesn't just fall to pieces. And I spray painted the interior black. That's essentially the shape that I came up with. And you can see the flaps on the back there. And that shape will then fit over the frame, and with Velcro pieces on these bottom corners so that I can take it off and pack it flat, or when I build it, just Velcro it back right onto the frame. And the camera should free float just inside it. All right, the next challenge for our project is to make sure that I measure from where my extension arm sets up to where the base of my Parrot prompter is going to be. Then I need to make sure that I bend the angle aluminum so that it has it the right height. And I have to keep in mind there's going to be a phone in there, so that's going to raise it up another 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch, depending upon the case that's on the phone that's being used as a teleprompter. I had an extra collet like this that came with this extension arm. So after I bent my aluminum to what I believe is the right lengths and heights, I drilled 4 1/16 inch holes, and then another 1/4 inch hole, 1/4 inch hole in the center, so that this locks into this bar stock, and these teeth will lock in on the collet that's on the Osmo extension arm to keep this from spinning. To attach it, I'm probably going to go to Lowe's and get one that I don't have to make, but I had these in the shop. So I put lock washers on this with a little butterfly washer so I can hand tighten and twist this. This is going to go through here and then screw into the extension arm on the Osmo, and hopefully hold it in place at the right height so that it cannot spin. I'll do that next. All right, we've got our Parrot teleprompter rig now. It's all set up. I've also added some non-slip texture here, like you find for the bottom of a silverware drawer or something, to this aluminum bar stock to hold onto the phone so it doesn't slip out. You can see that it opens up, and we've got the base for our back, for our shadow box to go on. And I bent this to what I think is going to be the right lengths. I'm going to add a little block of wood that is about the same height as what the iPhone is, just to make sure that my teleprompter is at the right height when I connect it. So to add that, I'm just going to slide it in here, just like so. Okay, so that's just being a placeholder for what the phone might look like when it's in there. Now I've got to very carefully slide this over the Osmo. Okay, and that's going to be my connection point, something similar to that. Okay. I'll screw in my collet. Okay, turn on the Osmo and square it up. Make sure it doesn't hit. And it looks like it's clean and clear. All right, so kind of see that it's not quite inside the teleprompter box. There is a little gap here because the way it swings, the way the Osmo swings with the head of that camera in there, you can see that one side sticks out further. So I wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to hit and it could spin completely around inside the box. And it looks like I'm pretty well centered now inside the Parrot teleprompter. So now when I take that off of the base that I'm using to build with, I've got a fully mobile kit. So my iPhone will go here in the iPhone holder so I can see what's happening with the camera. And now I should be able to move around with some slight movement of the Osmo and shoot with a mobile teleprompter solution on the Osmo. All right, we're in the home stretch today. I've got the Parrot teleprompter on the modified base that has the brackets around the back, which comes down and attached to the extension arm from DJI, the iPhone or the smartphone holder for our preview screen and controlling the camera. The extension arm is attached into the DJI OSMO handle, and the DJI OSMO itself is floating here. I have an old iPhone 4 that somebody gave me with a badly cracked screen when they replaced theirs. So I'm using that for my teleprompter, the Parrot teleprompter software, which you can see running on against the black of the Osmo. But all this light behind here is the issue. So I took some poster board, you can see here, and cut it into a shape that I think is going to work. So here's the shape I came up with. I painted the inside a flat black, the outside a silver. Hopefully this will reflect some sun and keep it a little cooler inside the box. I don't want to overheat my Osmo. And on the inside, I attached the hook side of Velcro, which will match up with the loop side of Velcro that I adhered to the aluminum frame that I built. The way this hood is going to go on is it's designed to line up directly with the corners, so it should be fairly easy on. Just like that. So now when we look at our teleprompter software, we get a much clearer view of the text that we're wanting to read, and now it should be a completely mobile solution. So I'm going to release it from its DJI base here and show you how that looks. And on the inside, you can see the text is fairly clear. And when I open it up, I'll show you what the inside looks like here. Give you an idea of what that's going to look like inside. Now I left that Velcro on there so that I can open this up and air it out if it gets too hot as well. So that's how the Osmo looks inside its box. By using the Velcro, it also allows me to pull this box off at any time that I want to. So if I'm shooting in a dark background with a light mounted, another nice thing about this aluminum bar frame is I can mount a light to it, I can mount microphones to it. I've got a lot of options that I can mount right onto this itself because it's so soft I can drill right into it. So there is our first attempt at a mobile teleprompter for the Osmo DJI. I hope you found this useful. I'd be very interested to see other designs that you guys come up with, and happy shooting.